to speak in second reading on Bill 26, the Mines and Minerals Coalbed Methane Amendment Act. I did approach this concept of this particular act with some trepidation, because when I realized what it was trying to do was settle the issue of who owns the coalbed methane, I thought, well, gee, if I was a landowner somewhere and I had mineral rights, I'd be a little PO'd if all of a sudden I found out that the government had sort of scooped it or scooped any coalbed methane that might lie in that by just passing an act. And I'm sure we'll be hearing from some people who feel exactly that way. And I felt like I had some personal interest in this. I no longer do, but when I first bought my property down just not this far from the legislature, it actually had original title from Donald Ross on it, and I had mineral rights when I bought the property. It was actually right on the title. So here I had a piece of property in the middle of downtown Edmonton with mineral rights. Well, gosh, that was fun. When I added there was a whole bunch of reorganization in that particular area, and it was, what's the word they use for it now, revitalized or rehabilitated or something, infill. And I ended up purchasing a small slice of land that got added to my lot. And of course, because we had to go right back and do a new linen, it actually was changing, and I had a new piece of property, and as happens, as soon as I changed it, I lost the mineral rights under it. And yeah, so even if we did find coalbed methane under my little 33 1/3 foot lot, that I wouldn't obviously own it anymore. And the more I thought about this, I thought, well, you know what? This is a non-renewable natural resource in this province. Even though it lies under some particular person's property, it actually probably doesn't stay underneath that one piece of property. It's probably, no matter where you stick that pipe in and get at the particular product, it probably actually lies under much more properties. So in the end, it is appropriate that it's owned by the people of Alberta and administered by the government of Alberta. What I would like to see come out of this is that maybe we could just start small, just a little pilot project, just a little test run for the government, and take the royalties that would be earned, or any money that would be earned off of this coalbed methane, as the government now would own it, and take that money and put it into endowment funds for the future. Because anything we pull out of the ground now and sell or use is gone, except for the money that it turns into. So it's that old phrase from your civics class or physics class that energy never ends, it just turns, matter never ends, it just turns into something else. Well, in this case, it turns into money. And I still really believe in the concept that my colleagues and I brought forward many years ago now about taking non-renewable resource revenue and a significant percentage of it. At that time, I think we were saying between 30% and 50%, and directing that revenue into several endowment funds. So we had one endowment fund that was to help us catch up with infrastructure and needed infrastructure in the province. And when that was done, then that money would flow directly into the Heritage Fund. We had another one for post-secondary education. So that would, because my dream was to be able to have that endowment fund reach the point where students in Alberta didn't have to pay for university or college, that we would be able to fund our universities and colleges from that post-secondary fund. There was a fund for the arts. Well, no surprise if I was in that caucus. But again, to help fund new and forward-looking needs of our artists and arts groups. And then the Heritage Trust Savings Fund, and money would go into that fund as well. And I really still believe that that is an excellent idea. And I still would like, I know it's been poo-pooed and everybody said, oh, it's not going to happen. I still believe in it, and I would still like to see it happen. So here's an opportunity for the government to take the revenue derived specifically from the coalbed methane that they are now taking ownership of and direct any profit, let's call it, whether that be in form of a royalty or whatever else, and direct that into some endowment funds for the future. It's just not right of us to be taking so much non-renewable resource that belongs to all Albertans and spending it, whether we're spending it on wonderful operational things like the provision of doctors in hospitals, for example, or new environmental provisions, or whether we're spending it on an infrastructure, which in fact is an asset. We're still spending the future's money. And if we don't, they have a right to be very critical of us. If by the time it passes on to the people that are pages, for example, working with us, they have a right to be really, really, well, let me pick a nice word, irritated with us if that wealth, that immense wealth, is gone. Because not only did we take it out of the ground, but we spent the money that it turned into. They have a right to be supremely irritated with us. So here's what I'm hoping we can look forward to, because I have wrestled with the idea that this is assigning the government, the Crown, the people of Alberta as the owner of coalbed methane, a new, essentially natural gas. But here is an opportunity for us to take a step along that road of endowment funds and start to look at that. The